Sorry about that. Good afternoon. My name is Michele. I'm an independent demonstrator with Stamping Up, and I've done it again. I just started my live and just realised I hadn't pressed. There's two buttons I've got to press, and I only pressed one of them. So thank you very much for joining me today. As I said, my name is Michele. I'm an independent demonstrator here in New South Wales, Australia. Today we're going to be playing with the snowman hugs, and what they've done for us is they've given us two different snowmen. They've given us a snowman which is a very beachy type theme one, and then a more of a traditional snowman that you would find in the snow. So I'm going to play with the beachy theme one, and we're going to give him a bit of a Hawaiian shirt, a nice bright bird on his arm, and I'm going to create him as a little bit of a sandman, because we've got sand here. We're not far from the beach where I live here, about an hour and a half's drive away from the beach. And I know as a kid myself, I used to love building things in the sand. So why not build a sandman? Who says we always have to build snowmen? So that's the way I'm going to colour this today. So let's get started. So this is the stamp set we're playing with. It's on page 54 of our new mini catalogue. It is a cling stamp set, so it's a red rubber stamp set. So I have got it all blocked up and ready to go. So let me just pop all of these bits and pieces away to one side. Please jump on, say hello, let us know who you are and where you're from. And it's always great to say hello to new people. So what I'm going to start with is a piece of cardstock, and I've cut this piece of cardstock at 8 centimetres by 10.5, and this is where we're going to stamp our image. Now I'm going to be doing my colouring with my blends today. I haven't done blends for a little while, so I thought, well, it's about time I did that. And I'm going to stamp this with my Memento black ink. Remember, I have got my Memento in a white stamp pad. When you order the white stamp pads, they come uninked, and I just find the Memento works much better on the foam for me than it does on the ink pads they come with. So I've just added the refill into my ink pad. So I'm going to stamp this a little bit in the middle. Now he's going to be over one side because he's got that bird sitting there on his arm, and we want to have that all lined up. Now I've been doing a little bit of playing with some colours, and I've worked out what colours I want to use. Now the other thing I want to do is add a little bit more background. So I've got this little background stamp here that comes in the set, and I'm just going to draw, paint, ink, we'll get the right terms yet, some lines on either side of him just to give him a little bit of a background there. So there's our snowman or sandman. So we're going to colour him in, and as I said, I've been playing with a few colours. Now these are only some of the colours. If you saw my desk at the moment, I have got my blends all over the place, so I've pulled out half a dozen colours, but this is just the main colours I'll be using. Haven't quite decided what colours my parrot is going to be, because it's really like a cockatoo type, and they're like a self-crested cockatoo is all white with a yellow crest on the top of it, but I think he deserves a little bit more colour than that, so we might brighten him up with some other colours. So what I've decided to do is his hat I'm going to do in Melon Mambo. So I've got my Melon Mambo, but I'm also going to add a little bit of a lighter pink in that as well. So I've pulled out here the bubble bath as well. So I'm going to start with my lightest Melon Mambo, and I'm just going to draw or colour an area from the edge of the hat, taking it in. And I'm just doing a flick and just flicking that all the way in, and I'm not going all the way to the middle. I am going to stop a little part in, because I do want the centre of his hat to be a little bit on the lighter side, and that's where the bubble bath is going to come in. I'm going to do the same with the base of his hat at the top. I'm just coming in just on those edges. I might just draw that little bit of a line underneath, and we're going to leave it at that for the moment. So now I'm going to come in with my light bubble bath, and I'm going to use my thicker tip here, and what I want to do is just bring that colour into the centre. So I'm just going to give that a good flick across and that across there. So just flicking them into the middle, and that's going to start blending those colours together. But I do want his hat to be a little bit brighter than that. So now I've got my dark Malamumbo, and I'm going to use my finer tip here because I really just want to have this around the edges, and I'm just doing a little flick all the way through and just a little bit coming around his face on both sides, because this is where your shadowing is. And I'm just going to bring that slightly in there and a little bit at the top as well, just so we're creating a little bit of shadowing there. Now I'm going to come back in now with my light Malamumbo, again with my brush tip end, and I'm just going to flick that in again from the darker Malamumbo and just flick that into the centre. Again, just very lightly there. Now I'm going to come in with my darker bubble bath, and again using the brush tip, just flick that a little bit in. I don't want to go all the way to the centre, just to blend those colours in a little bit more. So he's at the front of him, he's in that full sun type of effect. So if I hold that up to you, we've got that looking just like that. Okay, so that's our Malamumbo. I'm going to pop them to one side because we might need those again later on. And we're going to start working on his shirt. So his shirt, I decided to use the afternoon, Azure Afternoon. So let me just pull those in. No, that's not the right one. There we are, Azure Afternoon, and there's the light and dark. Now remember, your blends come in packs of 2, so you get a light and a dark. I like to start with my light and then add my shading. Some people like to start with their dark. There's no hard and fast rule about this. It's really what you feel comfortable with working with. Now I'm going to start here with my bullet tip end, and I'm just going to, in a little bit of a slight circular motion, just colour around all of these flowers on his shirt. Just being very careful when I go towards the flowers, because these pens can bleed a little bit. So I'm not necessarily going right to the edge of the areas that I want to cover. And I'm just working around when you're working with your blends, the idea of it is you want to saturate your paper a little bit. And that is so then when you put your next colour on top, like the darker one, it's going to blend together a lot easier. And as it dries, you will see these starting to blend. So there's one side. Now I only work with a small portion at a time because you don't want it to dry too quickly. And again, I'm going to use my bullet tip here on my darker one, and I'm going to come in and add my shading. Now with this, I'm just going to add a line all the way around, a bit different to what I did on his hat. And I'm just adding it where I want a little bit of shading, so around the top of his collar, and also just a little bit around underneath his collar at the side, so the side of his sleeve, side of his shirt. And I'm just bringing that line out a little bit, and then I'm going to come back in with my lighter and again just sort of blend that in. Now you could blend that in with a little bit of a ticking motion. Just blend those lines. Now those lines, unlike textures, will actually blend into each other. So I'm just going over really the whole area again, and that will just blend all of that together. So once you've done that, you can go and work on the other side. Again, just being very careful not to go too close to my flowers. Because I don't want those colours to bleed into my flowers. You can use a colour lifter to remove a bit of colour, but if you've got a lot of colour, it will tend to fade it out rather than it doesn't actually lift the colour out. It just fades it into nothing. And we will be doing that technique on our sand area as we go along. Now, sorry I wasn't able to do a live on Tuesday night. Just wasn't feeling the best, so decided to rest up. Now again, I've got my darker one here, and I'm going to add a little bit of the darkness underneath his neckline, the collar, there at the front, underneath there a bit, along the base of his shirt, shoulder line, and around the edges of the sleeve. Again, come in with my lighter one, just go over that whole area again, and that will just blend that dark colour into the lighter. So that's looking quite fun at the moment. So let's pop those up and I'll have a quick look at that. And those colours are looking really great. Okay, so now I want to put a little bit of colour into his body, and I'm going to use the crumb cake here. I've got the light and the dark. I'm going to start off with the light. I'm not quite sure whether I'm going to use the dark as yet. I may use that in the background a bit more, but I just want to add some highlights into his face. Now, if you want to make him as snowman as at the snow, what you could do is use a grey such as grey granite. I think I pulled out, yep, grey granite. I think we might need to add a bit more dark in him. Put a bit more of this underneath his neck. I'm not colouring in. Basically, all I'm doing is just going around the edges underneath. So I've just gone around the outside of his face, and I'm just putting a bit of this colour into the lines. So I'm just really going around the lines here, and I'm going to do it over this area here as well. So all I'm doing is just following the lines. Now I am going, because it is so light, and I do want him to look like a sandman, I'm going to add a little bit of darkness with the dark in there. And again, underneath either side of his shirt, because a bit of shadowing, a little bit under his neck. Just do that lovely smiley face. Add a little bit more underneath his shirt there as well, around his body. Out, and then again, just going to add some following those lines that we stamped in. Now I'm going to come back in with my light crumb cake, because I know that it will do something similar to what I would do. But if you wanted to blend it back out into your white nicely, you could actually use your blender pen to do this next part. But I'm just going to basically go around those harder edges of my dark crumb cake, and just blend that in a little bit. And I might just bring in, so I'm just taking that in, just another line basically on the side, and I'm going through the darker, which will just tend to blend that in. I missed a little bit of dark there. So I'm just going to bring that there. So this is just going to lighten the edge a little bit of the dark but also blend it in a little bit till it gets a bit lighter. So I'm just going over the top and just bringing that line further down. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my blender here, blender pen, and I'm just going to just very gently blend around the edges of the lighter crumb cake, just to make sure that they're sort of all blended in and disappear a little bit into the white. Because what a blended pen does, it actually pushes the colour away. Hi Joan, how are you? So we're just basically making layers, one under the other, of colour. And what it does, it just pushes that colour outwards a little bit. So once we're happy with that, let me just grab that so you can see. So my Sandman is starting to look like he's a little bit made of sand. We're creating a Sandman today, Joan, rather than a snowman. Because as you know, here in Australia, we don't really necessarily have snow, but we do have lots of sand. Okay, so now I'm going to be using Pebble Path for his arms. Now you could just keep that all in the light because it's only very, very fine. Don't think you need to add any of the dark into that because it's just a very, very fine line. Let's pop those over there since we've used them. And I think I need to colour in the flowers. Now the flowers I thought I'd do in Lemon Lolly with a little bit of a Daffodil Delight in them as well. So I'm going to start with my light one. And again, I'm using that finer tip, bullet tip end. And we're just going to colour in all of these flowers. Just so it's nice and bright. Wearing that lovely bright shirt. So that's the lighter one. And then I'm going to add a little bit of the dark one. Just on those lines, just really just keeping it very simple. There's no real techniques in this just because the image is so small. We're just sort of adding a little bit of colour. And then I'm going to grab the dark of my Daffodil Delight and just add that little bit more, just so then making sure that that's nice and bright. And the centre of those flowers are nice and bright. And of course, he's got a carrot for a nose, so we still need our pumpkin pie. So I'm going to start off with my light pumpkin pie. Just colour that in and then just add a little bit of detail there. That carrot. Might just add a little bit more darkness. There we go. Now I've got the flowers around his neck, and I thought what we might do is bring in the Millimambo again. And starting with our light one, just do some of these flowers. Now we could do them all in different colours, which is what I thought I would do. So I'm just going to go around and dot some of these colours that we've already used around. So I might use the Daffodil Delight rather than the Lemon Lolly, just making sure I've got the right colours here. And I think we might add a little bit of lemon lime twist. Into these flowers, just a little bit. And we've got one little flower left to do, and just what colour should we do him? I think maybe let's do him in the pumpkin pie. Now we've got our bird to do. So, as I said, a crested cockatoo, which just looks a little bit like with the crest on top of his head. Would generally be white with the yellow, but I think we're going to give this a bit more of a parrot type feeling. So I'm going to do his beak in Pebble Path. Just going to add a little bit of darkness to that. And I do have here, because I pulled out blueberry bushel, and I'm not quite sure yet. I want to do part of him in that. I've been playing around with colours, and it is not easy to get some of these colours right sometimes. So let's see how we go. So I'm going to do, and I'm basically just drawing lines here at the moment. I'm not colouring in so much as just getting colour down. And I want to put a little bit of blueberry bushel into his tail and to his wing. Maybe a bit onto his chest. So let's just get some of this light again and just blend some of that in together. And I've got the dark lemon lime twist here. I might do his eye in a yellow, but I'm going to start that with the lemon lolly. Might colour all of that in that. And then come back in with a lighter granny apple green and put a bit of colour in there. I'm not quite sure what this is going to look, how this is going to look, but I'm putting a bit of blue in there as well. And maybe a little bit of pumpkin pie, because I just feel like there's a lot of green in there. I'm going to go back over a bit of this with a light lemon lolly again. Just blend some of that in. What do you think? Not looking too... Oops, let me see if I can get him focused a little bit better. I hope he's not looking too bad. There we go. He's a bit of a motley bird. I'm just wondering if I should just put a little bit more dark there just to brighten some of that up. And I'm going to use the Pebble Loop Path again, just do his feet. Actually, probably could use the darker one on his feet because otherwise this is going to look like the branches. There we go. So I think that's all the colouring I'm going to do on that. So I hope he's not looking too bad. Just sort of wasn't, I had played with all sorts. I played with this one here with a bit more blue in him. Played with this one here with a bit more just the greens and the yellows. Try to do a self-crested with, and it just looked too plain. So that was my playing around today. So I'm hoping that one there will suffice. Okay, so let me just move all of these pens out of the road. It looks like I've emptied all my pens from my cabinet over here. And we'll remove that. And let's bring in our card base. So I've got a card base of Melon Mambo. And I've cut this at 10.5 by 29.9, which is half a sheet of A4. So if you're making this in letter size, you would just cut it at 4¼ inches and then score at 5.5. I've pulled out this piece here from the zinnias, the flowering zinnias, because I really liked the pattern there, and I just wanted something that was going to be bright. It's also got the lemon lime twist in that and the bubble bath. So I thought we'd have that piece there. Now this piece here is cut at 8 by 12. And I'm just going to adhere that directly onto the side there. So let me just grab my glue. That's such a beautiful pattern. It's such a waste I feel like it's such a waste to be covering it up, but I really do like the other side as well. So that's okay. I might just have to buy myself a second pack of this paper because I really love the brightness of the colours in this. And I just want to have that lined up right along that edge because we want to have this card nice and bright to match our Sandman's shirt. And that's going to get attached just there like that. So this piece here that I cut before in the cardstock was 8 by 10.5. And that's just going to go right across there and be situated just that little bit higher up. So I'm just going to use my multi-purpose glue to glue this down. Of course, you could use seal if you want to use seal. And that's going to go just about there. Also taking that from edge to edge. Now I've cut myself a little banner here using the Stylish Shapes. Oops, that just needs to go across that little bit more. Let's see if I've got a bit more movement there. Didn't glue that on, or just moved when I put it down because it's just moved a little bit. That's better. Probably could go across that little bit more. I think I'm going to have more luck trimming my card down a little bit than getting that across, which we might just do. Let's see if I can give this, just take a smidgen off the width of my card. Not much, just a tiny weeny little bit. A bit more than that. Just so then I've got those edges looking nice. And I'm just going to come in with my little trimmer here and just got a few little furry ends there now. And I'm just going to just get rid of those little furry bits. Because I'm cutting through two thicknesses here, I'm just going to run that through twice on either side. Yep, that's much better. Much happier with that. Okay, so I've got my stylish shapes here, and I've got some Melon Mambo ink. And the sentiment I'm going to use from the same stamp set. Hi, Lucia. How you going, darling? Good to see you. Is sending warm hugs and happiness. So our Sandman, we're not creating a snowman today. We're creating a Sandman because he's at the beach. He's going to be sending out some nice warm hugs. And I'm going to stamp this over to the left-hand side. And I'm stamping that in the Melon Mambo. Might be just a little bit crooked, but that will do me. And that's going to go just about there. So I do want to trim that off a little bit. I'm going to take probably about that much off. And that's going to sit about there. Now, I did cut a strip of Melon Mambo, and I've cut this about 2 centimetres wide. And I don't know yet whether I will do this, but let's have a look, see what it looks like. So I'm just going to grab my paper snips here. And I'm going to use, actually what I might do is use this one here, the piece that I've cut off, as a template, just so that just in case I cut it the wrong spot. And I just want to make sure I've got that leveled on either side. Everything's squared up. And I'm going to use that just as a template. So I've got the same angles. So let's have a look, see what this looks like. Just to add that little bit more. What do you think? Doesn't have to be much. I just wanted to add a little bit more of a definition to that is a separate tag. It is going to be sitting up on dimensionals. So let's just do that now. So let's pop, we're going to glue this part. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue just down through the center there. It doesn't have to be much. And it's probably only about 3-4 mil I'm adding there. It's not half, it's a bit less than half a centimetre. And then I'm going to just trim that back. So it's the same length. So let's grab some dimensionals. I'm going to put 3 across there because I don't like it if it looks like it's collapsing in the middle. Looks good with a little Mambo under it. You like that little piece, the little tag that's coming out? Whoops. Stuck a bit. I just wanted to go that little bit closer. That's it. So I think that just defines that that is a tag, and it's just sitting up that little bit there. So now what we're going to do, I've got a piece of cardstock here which is for the card insert, and I've cut this at 10 by 14.4. I've got a strip of my designer series paper, and that is about 1.5 centimetres. But what I thought I would do, and I've just used the strip I was going to use for it. That's okay. We'll just cut ourselves another strip. Oh no, I have another little one here. There we go. And I've just thought I would add a little bit of this either side. Now this is going to sit on the inside of my card in there. So it's going to have the melamumbo coming out this side here, and then those two adhere together and a little bit more on the inside there. So I think that'll look okay. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of glue along here. Just doing a little strip. I'm not taking it all the way to the end because I do have to. I know this piece I can take to the end. It was the melamumbo cardstock, which is a little bit too long. All I'm going to do is just give this like a little bit of a, let's turn that over and use the other side. So I've got a bit of glue everywhere where I didn't want it. Just a little bit. Of an edge. And then we can just trim that back off there. Now we'll add a bit more glue on the back of that. And we'll add that down. Then we can put this into our card. Just so then the inside of our card looks pretty as well as the outside. Just going to give that a little bit of a crease there. And there we are. There's our card. So nice and bright and a little bit of fun. And having a sandman rather than a snowman. I just needed, I don't know. I just think sometimes we're too much snowy stuff because we don't have that snow here. I'm not going to add any more embellishments or anything to that, I don't think. I think that looks quite good like it is. Though you probably could add, I think these are discontinued, but the glossy dots would work quite well if you wanted to add them because you've got your melamumbo there, but I'm not going to worry with it with this. I think he's quite nice like he is. I quite enjoy that. So I hope you've liked my card today. Thank you for joining me. All these products are on my online store, so you will find them there. The stamp set, as I said, the Snowman Hugs is in the mini catalogue. And, of course, if you want to do more of a winter version, you do have more the traditional style of snowman is there. But I thought when I saw this, I thought, no, he's all dressed up to go to the beach. So he's going to be my Sandman. So thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, please ask and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But otherwise, have a lovely day. Enjoy your weekend. And I will see you hopefully next Tuesday night. Thanks very much. Bye for now.